Mod Podge. I could write a song about Mod Podge. I love it so much. I have Mod Podged my way through life. Hi, I'm Melanie, and Molly is doing her own thing at her own house. Today, I am doing what I love to do, which is get started doing a craft project. And I'm gonna work on this little table that I found at an estate sale. It happened to be one of my estate sales. It's one of those things that didn't sell. And so I picked it up on half price day, and I loved it. I loved it. And it's a sturdy little table that was built by our client's father back in, I believe, the late 50s. And he did cabinetry work and stuff. It is solid. It is solid. And I love that it has the little sort of like 50s silver band around that. I can remember that on my mama's cabinets, her having that little silver band around Formica, and that's Formica on the top. So it's really a great retro piece, and it would be fine just left like it is. It's cute as can be, but I just love to decoupage on things. So I'm going to paint the legs on this, and then I'm going to decoupage. And I love using vintage graphics. I just think they're so sweet. And this is inspired by a golden book. Do y'all remember the golden books? They were so cute. I think they may still sell them in stores, but I love the vintage ones, and I still have some that I was given as a child, and then I've continued to collect through the years because I think the artwork is just precious. But there was one, and I think it's called Going to Kindergarten, maybe. But I can remember looking at that book as a little girl, and as you turn each page, it showed a classroom, and it showed them doing different things. But I remember them having art projects and getting to do creative things, and those are the pages that just stick out in my mind. And I'm hoping I can find my book and show some pictures of it or something. But things when you're little can make such an impact on you. And I've just always loved the smell of crayons and love getting a fresh spiral notebook and school supplies. I love all those things. So this is a little opportunity to make something sweet and vintage. And I picture children sitting here and doing something creative and fun and just having a good kind of old-fashioned vibe. Now, I know it's not everybody's vibe. I know that. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a professional crafter. Some of the things I do, you may just say, oh, bless her heart. She doesn't know she should be doing it such and such way. I just get in there and I do it and I have fun. So I am using a book, and y'all, I don't like cutting up books. It goes against everything I believe. But as the older that I get, I realize some things it could just sit there and not be enjoyed, or I could rescue the book. And what I've done is rescue some adorable graphic pictures out of the book that's by Rand McNally, and it's called My Counting Book, and the cover was going bad on it. And you know, a lot of kids' books, they wrote in them when they shouldn't have. And so I've rescued some of the graphics, and I want to give it a second life. So I'm going to paint this table in inspiration of a past little golden book and other little vintage books. You just can't beat them for artwork. And make this something that maybe some children would like sitting around and doing an art project or something. So hope you can hang in there with me. I'll probably go back. This is my first time to do this kind of on my own. Go back and maybe edit out the boring spots and my mistakes. I'm going to be using different tools. I've got a paintbrush. I'm going to paint the legs. I think I'm going to use my favorite paint, which is DIY, and I believe this is Old 57. So think of an Old 57 pickup truck. I think I'm going to use that for the legs. I think it'll be a really good color, and DIY paint is extremely pigmented. It's a clay-based paint, and it doesn't have any awful smells or anything, so I can use it in the house. I like that. And it's also very blendable, but I don't think I'm going to be doing much blending with other colors today. I like the simplicity of just using an Old 57. Then I'm going to glue on the pages with Mod Podge. I could write a song about Mod Podge. I love it so much. I have Mod Podged my way through life. Through many a difficult time, I have Mod Podged and felt happy once again. You just can't beat Mod Podge. So I've got a big old gallon. Looky, y'all look. This is like a big old gallon of deliciousness that you can really transform things with right there. But I have put some in a little baby Mod Podge and I've added a little water to it. And that's what I'm gonna glue my paper on with. And then I'm going to, yeah, there you go. I'm going to, for the first time, use something from DIY paint, and it's called Big Top, and it is a sealer. And I'm excited to use that, and I'll tell y'all what I think of that. I'm going to use it over the top of the table so it's protected, and so kids can come and play and have a good time and not worry about messing up this table. Because my goodness, it's been here since the 50s, and it needs to be here a while longer. So I'm going to get busy on that, and you can just see how my progress goes. One other thing that I'm going to use, and that is a misting bottle, and this is a continuous mister, so it's not like shooting a thing of Windex out at somebody. It's just a little baby mist, and it'll just continually just provide a light mist, and it just helps the paint spread further and go further, and I like that. paint where I have not painted before. And just add a little water. It makes the paint spread a little thinner. I don't have to use so much, which I also like. And I'm going to end up going back and distressing this because I want it to look old. And that's the great thing about distressing furniture, is you can make mistakes. Things don't have to be perfect. I do absolutely horrible with anything that has to be done perfect. That's perfect. I like it to be perfectly fun to do. If it has to be perfectly executed, isn't that the word for it? Then then that's not really anything I'm too interested in. So I'm gonna get busy on this and come back to y'all later. Okay, I've got all of the wood part painted like I want it, and then I'm going to probably distress it somehow, or I might wait to distress it till later and go ahead and get the Mod Podge stuff going, because I do like the Mod Podge portion of the program. The things that I did before I got this table ready is I just washed it down with soap and water. That's it. The wonderful thing about chalk paint is that it just paints over anything. And so you don't have to worry so much about stuff. And I like things that have nicks and little signs of history and that had another life. So I'm not too worried about perfection. I think I've said that before, and if y'all are here for very long, you'll pick up on that fact that perfection is, I don't want to say I don't want to seek perfection, but perfection to me is allowing a piece to kind of smile through with some of its history. I don't want to erase all of that. I don't want to make things look brand new, not usually. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll come back and tell y'all what I do next and see if I can get this project finished today. It's so nice to start a project on one day and finish it on that very same day. That doesn't always happen. Okay, I'll come back to you. Okay, y'all, here's something that it took me a while to learn, and I've been decoupaging a long time, and I'm no expert at it. You'll see much better videos on YouTube than mine, so I don't know why I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Anyway, here's my tip for what it's worth. When you're cutting, let me see if I can turn around and do this. When you were cutting, let you want to do your scissors like that, or your instinct is going to be to make your scissors do all the moving. But the best way to cut, and another thing is, you can do it with little scissors, little tiny scissors too. But the best thing to do when you're doing this fussy cutting is move your paper. Move your paper and just kind of let your scissors stay put. And that may be hard. I have to learn things by doing things. So just get you a piece of paper if you want to be a decoupager, and let your paper move, and keep your, do more about keeping your scissors still, and just kind of steer your paper where it goes. I hope that makes sense. It may not. Here is another tip. Sometimes you can't really do a good job of cutting around things like these balloons. So I just cut them off, and then I'll reattach them. So you can't be afraid of that. Like these two trees, I could not cut into those and get all of the white part out. So I just cut, but when I glue it back, it's going to go back together. So that allows you to cut a little bit more detailed, especially white spaces out of there, and do a better job. So that's one other little tip, is don't be afraid to just slice something off and re-glue it. It's glue. So it's going to be okay. Okay, I have everything cut out where I want it and kind of placed where I want it. the beauty of decoupage, if you have some sort of flaw on the furniture that you'd like to cover up, you can place it there. This one, everything is in pretty good shape. There's a little dot on the other side. I may make sure that a picture covers that up, but it's really not that big of a deal. So now I'm going to use Mod Podge, and there's no, to me, there's no fancy way of doing this. You just kind of get in there and do it. And what I'm going to do is put the Mod Podge, which I have added a little water to, so it's not drippy, but it's also not thick, thick, thick. And I'm just going to place it on the back of what I am decoupaging down, and making sure I get on those little points and little edges. And you know, if you mess up, you can usually kind of take things off or readjust. To me, that's the fun of crafting. I have come to realize, though, that a lot of people are very scientific about it. I am not. And that's probably why some of my projects just don't turn out like I think they should. But gosh, do I have a good time doing them. Now, what I'm trying to remember here, I want to place this down here on this edge, but I'm trying to remember, did that picture, I think that picture goes over it. So that's about where I want it. Right there. And then I'm going to do this one real quick, because this next picture goes, I think I need to kind of attach them. Okay, so I'm going to do that real quick. I've already spilled some glue on my table. That's not a big deal. Let me get this down quickly. Just coat it with glue. Get all these little tiny bits and baubles at the bottom and the sides. If you've got little detailed parts, make sure you get the edges good. You want them to stick good. And so remove that. Okay, this is going to go down here, and I believe that's going to kind of slide up under there. So now I need to start smoothing things down. Smoothing things down. Now, I like doing it with my hand. I don't mind getting messy, and I like doing it with my hands and seeing and feeling where everything goes, and if it needs, but start in the middle, and you know, you smooth your way out. You may have a little bit of glue mess coming or seeping out the edges. You might realize, ooh, there's a spot that needs a little dab more of glue. I say that and I can't get his head up. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little dab more to that little boy's head there. Okay, and I'm gonna move over it like that. And I'm trying not to get it all over the table. I really don't want to do a coat of Mod Podge on the table. Not that it would hurt anything even, but I want to try using the DIY sealer. And so I probably could have made that not be that, yeah, but see, it's not gonna matter. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. So it looks like I need some more glue down here in this edge. I'm gonna stick glue there, because that's where, woo, that's where it would come up, and if kids start fiddling with it. So smooth it down. It's gonna have some glue down in there. That one, I may even have to get a little razor and kind of cut some of that excess off. But I'm always amazed at how the wrinkles can come out. Now, I'm almost afraid to do this, but I've seen where people they get cling wrap and they smooth it down, and I'm kind of scared to even try it, because I think, you know, I don't mind my hands getting all gluey and messy, but I'm gonna see what this does. I see a lot of people, and they put the the cling wrap down, and then they go like this, and you know, it's not sticking to it. And I guess it does allow you to really smooth without tearing the page. I would think this would especially be advantageous. Can't believe I'm even using that word. Advantageous if you were decoupaging like napkins, things that were really sort of fragile. Okay, and the other thing I even have is this. I have never used this in my life to decoupage, but I thought, you know, now that I'm doing a YouTube channel, maybe I should try out some different ideas. And my goodness, if one of these professional decoupagers happens to come across this, they're going to give me all kinds of grief on the crazy way I do things, but I just like doing it. You know, and it gets done. So I'm taking up this cling wrap, and the next thing I'm gonna do, and I don't know that it's even necessary, but there are a few little glops. I'm gonna use a little baby wipe, and some of these places where the glue dripped out a bit, I'm going to just wipe down. I plan on sealing the whole thing in Mod Podge. It dries clear, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, but I just thought, you know, I'll just run a little baby wipe over this and see what happens. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry, and it's got a few little baby wrinkles in there, and that could have gone up a little better, but I didn't do it. So I'm going to go wipe a little of that glue off, and then this is I'm just going to let it dry. See what happens. And I'm going to do all 4 sides the same way. I've got other pictures to put down, and then I will come back, and we're getting close to having a finished product. I'm so hungry I could eat the horns off a billy goat, but I want to get this finished. I have got everything glued in place, and I have taken my eyeballs and kind of done like this to the top and make sure there's no pieces that are just sticking up that obviously need to be glued down. I like the shrink wrap, the cling wrap process. I have to give it a thumbs up. I like the way it smoothed out the wrinkles and such. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do next. My paint has dried, and so I'm going to go and take a wet baby wipe, and I'm going to wet distress it around the edges where it would receive normal wear. And you just can kind of go where you want to on that, and you see it still takes a little of the paint off, and I'm just going to wipe some of that back so the original color is going to be showing. And then I'm going to just let this sit and marinate in all of its glue and glory, and I'm going to go get me a glass of tea, and I'm going to get me a snack, and I'm just going to revel in the gloriousness of my almost completed craft project. Now, when it all gets dried, like, I may wait till tomorrow, but I will put some of the big top on it. Where is that big top? Oh, this will be not, oh my. Going in. Wasn't graceful, but I got it done. I'm gonna put some of this DIY big top on it, and I'm gonna seal this stuff. And I may wax that. I may try to wax it. Or I may stick some of this, I don't know. I'm just gonna have fun and experiment, because that's you know what it's all about when you're doing craft stuff, is just having fun and experimenting if you're the creative sort. So that's what I'm fixing to do. But at the top of my list is getting a glass of tea and something chocolate. I got to go. Okay, I've been working on this today. The decoupage part has dried, and now I'm going to add a coat of this DIY, and it's called big top after show, and it's going to go down here on these images on this book that I have decoupaged, and it said just put it on with a soft bristle brush. So I'm hoping this is a bristle brush and that it's soft enough. So it goes on real easy. It doesn't have any odor. That's what I like about this stuff. And it just says put a thin coat on it. I think it said a thin coat. I'm terrible about reading directions. So tomorrow, after this is dried, and I may put more coats on this through the evening, and then tomorrow I'm probably going to wax the legs on here, and then I'll be done. And I think it's gonna be cute. It'll be one of a kind and interesting, if nothing else. Okay, so see you tomorrow. Hey y'all, sometimes when a project marinates overnight, you get up and you look at it in the morning and you think that's not quite what I had envisioned. I think this table has too much white space on it. I like the pictures, I like how everything's going, but I'm going to add some letters or numbers or something to go on it. I just think that will help it look better. And I am going to use Iron Orchids Designs. They've got a great alphabet. You just stamp them on and some numbers and such. So I'm going to give that a try. We'll see how that works out.